here we go. Page 244. So these first, it does say write your answer as a mixed number or a whole number when possible. So when we're adding or subtracting mixed numbers, we always do the fraction first, right? So an easy way for me to do this, just in case there's some regrouping, is I like to do it off to the side. So I've got 2/3 plus 2/3 is 4/3. Now I can see that 4/3 is a fraction greater than 1, right? So just like if our answer were 11, we would regroup one of those ones to the next place value. So we're going to take one of the wholes and regroup it into the whole number. So how many thirds makes one whole? We're going to put one whole over here. Yusuf, how many thirds? Three thirds. So I'm going to move 3/3 over. And if I take that away, how many thirds am I ending up with? 1/3. So do you see what I did there? I took this 3/3 and I basically shape-shifted it over into one whole. Okay, and now I'm left, since I had 4/3 to start with, I moved 3/3 over. I'm left with 1/3. And then I can add my whole numbers. 5 plus 4 is 9, plus one more makes 10. Everybody get 10 and 1/3?
Yep.
Okay. If you put your answer 9 and 4/3, you would only get half a point, because that shows me that you know how to add, but that you don't understand how to regroup properly for mixed numbers, which is what we've been working on. So you're always looking for fractions greater than 1. And this one, we're subtracting. So we're doing like ungrouping, right? Because I cannot do 3 take away 7. So I'm going to have to do the opposite of this and take one whole away. So this becomes not 1, but 8. And then I move that one whole over, which adds 8 to my numerator, right? The shortcut is just we could do 8 plus 3, and we get 8, 9, 10, 11 eighths now. So I moved over 8 eighths. I already had 3 eighths, so now I have 11 eighths. Thumbs up if you got that. Good, okay. So then we can subtract 11 take away 7. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 gives me 4 eighths. And then I have 8 take away 3, which gives me 5. So I should have 5 and 4 eighths, or 5 and 1/2. This 4 eighths can be simplified, Stella, to 1/2. Both of these are correct. Okay. Any questions on adding with regrouping or subtracting with ungrouping? Good? Okay. Number 12. This was a long problem. Number 12 says, on Saturday, Jesse plays basketball for 2/3 of an hour. Then he plays some more. He plays 2 1/3 hour in all. How much longer did Jesse play basketball? Draw a model to represent the problem, then solve. So here, I'm okay if you draw a fraction model or unit boxes. I think they both would count as a model. So maybe you're going to say first he plays basketball for 2/3 of an hour. Then he plays some more. And in total, he plays 2 1/3 of an hour. Okay. The other model you might draw would show that he plays for 2 and, I'm going to use that line, 2 1/3 hour in all, right? So, and 2 1/3. Okay, but to start with, he plays for 2/3. So I'm going to take one of these and split it up. And I could take away 2/3, and that leaves me with 1 2/3. Let's see if that's the answer. So I can subtract 2 1/3, take away 2/3. And we line up our fractions and our whole numbers, right? Just like we would do for place value. So I cannot do 1/3 take away 2/3, so I have to regroup, which is basically what I did here. Did you see how I took this one whole and I chopped it up into thirds? So I'm gonna move over my 3/3, which gives me 4/3. So do you see what I did here? I changed it from 2 1/3 and I chopped it up into 1 4/3. You can see it. Then I took 2/3 away. 4/3 take away 2/3 is 2/3. 4 take away 2 is 2. And I have 1 whole, which is what this model shows, right? So I would be okay with either one of these types of models. It says draw a model, so you would get a point for the model. It says solve. And then it says explain how your model helps you solve the problem. So this part A is worth 3 points. Have I explained anything here yet?
No.
I have not explained anything. So explaining is when I use words, okay? So I could say, I think this one is the most helpful, but my first model helped me see I needed to subtract. You have a question, Yusuf?
Yeah. So like, is it just 1 point or is it like just 1 point overall?
It's this part A is worth 3 points.
Okay, and then I don't really like understand the models. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say the second model, that would be this one. It really helps me see the regrouping. Or ungrouping, I guess. So let me show you this in slow motion. Let me show you this in slow motion. So I'm gonna model this problem. Just, this is like the iReady. Okay, so if we're in this problem, we were doing 2 1/3, take away 2/3. Okay? So I'm gonna show a model of 2 1/3. I'll do it slow. So I've got 1 whole, 2 wholes, and then I'm gonna show this box in thirds, and now I'm gonna shade them in. 1 whole, 2 wholes. Joseph, do you have a question?
No.
And 1/3. Okay? Do you guys see how this model shows 2 1/3?
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna take 2/3 away. I can't, because I only have 1/3. So what I have to do is take this 1 whole and chop it up. Right? It's just like that darn sandwich when we have the whole sandwich and then someone else shows up to the party and we're like, okay, we need another sandwich and we'll chop it up. So this is where we take the 1 whole and we chop it into thirds. I haven't changed what I started with. I've just shown it in a different way. Now I have 1 whole and 4/3. So this is what you were doing with iReady when it was having you rewrite the problem. We haven't changed the quantity, like if this is sandwiches and we had 1 whole sandwich and another whole sandwich and then a part, we just took one of the whole sandwiches and we cut it up. So now we only have 1 whole sandwich, we have another sandwich cut into thirds, and then just 1 part of a third sandwich. So now we can take away 2/3, and we have 1 2/3 left. So Joseph, whatever you're doing is now distracting people 2 rows away, hun. So I can show 4, take away 2 is 2, and I'm left with 1 whole. Any questions about that, Barrett?
I got confused because I kind of did a different model. I kind of did like, so I did this. So,
Yeah, this is fine.
okay.
Yep. And if you chopped this one up into thirds, that's fine too. If you drew a whole bunch of thirds, you would know that this is still 1 whole, right? Yeah, totally.
I just
Great.
like a different way than both of you guys.
So then on part B, it's going back to the original problem. I got some questions on this. So you're probably going to see something, Julian, just like this on the test. So part B says, on Sunday, Jesse played basketball for 1 2/3 hours. How many total hours did he play on Saturday and Sunday? Now this is confusing because some of you are like, okay, I figured that out and I'm gonna do this. But this wasn't the answer to how many hours he played on Saturday. This was like how many more? Up here, it told us that he plays 2 1/3 hours in all on Saturday. So these are the 2 times that you're gonna add together to figure out how many hours he played over the weekend. How many of you guys did that? Added 2 1/3 and 1 2/3. Raise your hand if you did it. I know some of you did. I talked to you. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna add, I don't really have enough room here. I'm gonna put it over here. 2 1/3 plus 1 2/3. Okay, I like to add my fractions off to the side because I can do any extra work there. So I've got 1/3 plus 2/3 is 3/3, which is equal to 1 whole. So I'm not gonna write those thirds down because I'm just gonna transfer them over to a whole. And now I've got 2 plus 1 makes 4. So how many hours does he play on Saturday and Sunday? 4 hours. Okay. Any questions about that one? Zala, did you have any questions? Okay. All right. So we're going to work for 5 more minutes and make some progress on page 245, and then we'll come back and correct.